Good day, everyone. It's me, Coach Precious, with another episode of Time is Precious. Let's make the most of it. So, I'm going to start today. I have a couple of points that are good for you, that are good for all as it relates to the precious commodity of time. And it's something that we don't get back, but that we do have an amount of that we can use for our benefit. So, we have the time. It's a matter of how we use it so that it is to our benefit. And one of the things that I want to suggest to us today is stop allowing doubt to be a thief of our time. And what do I mean? Doubt, it destroys our time. It's something that we're doing as time passes if we're self doubting, but it's not producing anything. There are things that we could be doing, ways we can be living and enjoying ourselves, basically thriving, but for the self doubt. So while sitting there contemplating what we think we can or we shouldn't do, can't do, this is not the right time to do, we're using up time, but it's not benefiting us. It's just self doubt that's eating away at the time that we have. So that's a thief of our time. So I want to suggest something to replace that. Kick him to the curb and instead do self care. Care for yourself, build yourself up, give yourself the time, the space you need to grow and thrive, and think positive thoughts about yourself. Remind yourself about the good points. Bask in all that's lovely and let what's natural grow from that. Because the things that we think on, they feed into us, they feed our spirit. And in the quiet moments, that's what we draw from, what we've been basing our time on, the things that we've been doing as time passes. That comes back to us. So if we've been doubting ourselves, there's no fruit to produce anything good from that experience. But if we've been caring for ourselves because we're worth it, and you know we really are, then there is fruit that comes from that experience. There's so much that is built from just caring for ourselves that develops naturally. It's not that we are always so intentional about, "Oh, I need to do this or do that to promote myself." Some of that it will come naturally as it's a lifestyle that we care for ourselves. So ditch the self-doubt. It's not serving. It's not serving you, and it's not serving those that you're meant to impact. It's not. It's limiting you. It's limiting, and it is a thief of our time. So instead of the self doubt, replace that with self care. Care for yourself. So I haven't said boost yourself up. You can do that. But my point right now is just care for yourself. What is needed? What is necessary for you to care for yourself? You have to be in tune with yourself to know those answers. And and it's a worthy investment. That's how we make time count when we do the things to help ourselves to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So self-care is what you want to use to replace self-doubt. And sometimes when we have to acknowledge how do we get there in the first place, we've been holding on to beliefs, belief systems, people who support those systems that don't serve us at this point in our lives. I don't know if they ever did, but that's what we had. That's what we knew, and that's what we clung to. But those belief systems, those so called supportive environments, support for those beliefs, mm, they get to be reevaluated. Are they serving you? And if they aren't, readjust, realign to what is serving you, your better self. Now, remember, I've already spoken on us doing the self care that's needed. So when you're doing that, and when you're aligning with beliefs that support you, there will only be good ones. It won't be the type of beliefs that are harmful to you or others around you because you are supporting yourself all along. You're caring for yourself and your most basic needs. So as you do that, the beliefs that you align with will continue that process. There will only be good ones. So as you care for yourself, the next natural step is aligning in spaces with people and with beliefs that support that care. And it's just a natural process. And that's another way to appreciate and benefit from this precious gift of time that we have. We have it and we can make it count when we know how and when we choose how, when we choose to do the things that would help us to have the best experience possible. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order, knowing how and choosing how. That's not the emphasis right now. The point is that we do it. As you choose to live well and enjoy the time, the gift that you have of time, there are things that you will do, such as daily, regular self care. And there are things that you won't spend time on, which is self doubt. That serves no one. It does not serve you, and it does not serve those that you are in the spaces to be of support and inspiration to, of value to others. Self doubt is a robbery of that time. Good. Got it? Get it? Good. Now let's move on to my next point. And that one is your power lies in this moment, not in, well, one day. So there are things that we have considered, there are dreams, there are goals we have, maybe even plans that are very close, very imminent. We have gotten to the point where it's time. It's time. And if that's the case, we can we can sabotage that experience by doing something similar to what we just talked about in the self-doubt. And that's by saying, well, one day I will. One day, maybe one day soon. Don't use that as a way to push back now. We don't have one day. We know that. We don't have that yet. We're not there. We only have what we have, the now, the present, which is a present. It's a gift. That's what we have. So, in recognizing that, know that your power lies in this moment. What can you do? What are you doing? What will you do in this moment, right here, the only one we have, to further yourself in this game called life? What will you do to further yourself now? Because just saying one day, that's a way of putting off what we could be afraid to do now, what we are unclear about. We don't want to acknowledge certain things, so we push it off. It's maybe a way of time procrastination, pushing off for the future what we don't want to deal with and address today. It doesn't serve a purpose. That's a thief of time as well, just pretending and then pushing off. Learn how to maximize the right now. And it goes with the first point I started with when it comes with self care. If you care for yourself, some of these things, well, maybe all of these things, will flow more easily and naturally when it comes to the next step. When it comes to what should I do right now that will support me? Because this gift of time that I've been given, only I've been given this for my life. What you've been given is for your life. But what I've been given for mine, that's for me to manage and to be a good manager of, a good steward of. So, in being a good steward of the time, the gift of time that I've been given, I have to regularly make sure I'm in sync and in line with what now? What things am I to do in this moment that support me and that further me in this life that I have, that I've been gifted. So, recognizing the importance of time and the gift that you've been given of time, and realizing that only you can do with it as you choose for your life. No one else can dictate that for you. And if we give that power away to others to dictate, how unfortunate. Because if they're doing their jobs well, they're using their time to manage and steward their own lives. But even if they aren't, if they haven't gotten there, what does that have to do with us? Unless we allow it to have something to do with us. We are the stewards, the managers of our lives and the time that we have been gifted and given. So don't allow the thief, the robbery of self doubt any longer. Replace it with self care. There are no real rules on self care other than simply caring for yourself in that moment, in that time, space. What can you do to care for yourself? What does your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit need to be supported? And then care for yourself accordingly. And then the other part of knowing that it's not one day. One day, no one can narrow that down. When is one day? When is that day? You can keep pushing it off. It doesn't have a date or a time if it's just one day in that sense. Um, but make sure right now, time is the time that you're using in your best interest and not allowing the connections of old and dated belief systems. They don't have to, the issue is not how old they are, is whether they are supportive of who we are, of our life, our love and liberties, as opposed to being bound by what other people have dictated to us that we ought to believe, by what maybe even society has pushed us to believe. Make sure your belief systems support your self care. That's the rule, that's the goal. Make sure that it's supporting your self care and know that your power lies in this moment. Okay? That's a lot, but simple. I like simple and profound, something that's not too deep, but yet it carries weight. It's a classic, it never gets old. Care for yourself always and let that guide you into the way you use your time. Time is precious. Let's make the most of it. Until next time.